Hi everyone, my name is Michelle, and today we're going to talk about how we can make use of our marketing data and turn it into insights. I'm a customer engineer at Google, and yeah, we're happy to go over the marketing analytics platform and what it looks like to turn data into insights. So yeah, feel free to post any questions. My colleagues will be replying, and let's go ahead and get started. Awesome. All right, so you want to drive marketing and customer success, and you have a lot of marketing data and possibly a lot of marketing data platforms powered by Google and other services. So, what's an awesome way to start this data journey and to create some sort of transformative journey where you can use your data to power business decisions? Well, the first step of this data journey is to bring data together from various different data silos. You might have data in one source or another, but the first thing you want to do is break down the silos and bring them all together into one consolidated place. Step two is once all you have this data together in a single place, you can transform it to be ready for analysis and run queries and analysis to generate relevant insights from it. And then third, you can use the insights that you pull to create a better experience for your customers and activate these insights across your organization, regardless of skill level in terms of data or technology, and be able to use the data to power actual business decisions. This is what you can achieve with a Google Cloud powered customer data platform solution. So for the rest of the presentation, we're going to dive a bit deeper into this and also go over some use cases based off of this framework. So first was step number one, which is collecting and transforming data, breaking down different data silos, and making sure that you can get a real holistic view of the customer. You might have data in a bunch of different places, for example, across the Google Marketing Suite, maybe in YouTube ads, and also you have point of sale information, your CRM, maybe data from your loyalty program. It's really important that we can easily export this data into Google with just a few clicks using native collectors, and also make sure that we can marry the data from your first party data, your third party data, and also your Google Analytics in order to create a holistic view of the customer. Second is about analysis and visualizing the data that we're talking about in step one so that you have data ready to enable decisions down the line. So once you've brought your data together, our AI and machine learning capabilities will allow you to immediately gain business insights. We have something called BigQuery, which is our data warehouse solution. And here you can look at all the data that you've brought at scale and be able to query it extremely quickly, regardless of how much data you have and how large it is. And then from there, you can use Looker so that you can enable self-service analytics with a set of marketing and customer analytics blocks that allow you to share insights across the organization with visualizations and dashboards. And then the third step, which is about activating your data so that you can actually increase revenue through personalized marketing and customer experiences. So you're going to want to take these new insights and leverage them to improve your marketing by incorporating the seamless activation. So some examples of this: after you forecast your products that your individual customers might be interested in, you can provide your customers with personalized product recommendations. Or let's say that you use technology to predict which of your customers are at risk of churn. Then you can make the decision to stop showing ads to low predicted lifetime value segments so that you can improve your return on investment. Another example is that after you start to understand your customer sentiment for your brand and also for your competition, you can start to tailor your customer service messaging so that it matches the sentiment that your customers have for your brand. And then lastly, maybe you predicted the lifetime value of your customers. From there, you can automatically send emails with a specific offer to specific segments in order to encourage them to stay. So those are just some examples of how you can take your data, transform it, and analyze it, and then use it to actually activate it and make business decisions. So this is a big slide. This slide represents the sample marketing analytics reference architecture on Google Cloud. And you see there's 10 plus Google Cloud products on here. We're not going to be going into the details of each of them, but we're really just going to cover how all of them can come together to solve some high priority marketing analytics use cases. So to review kind of what this looks like from left to right, on the left, we have our collection piece. So you'll see that we've identified four key data source buckets. Bucket one is our Google and SaaS platforms. Bucket two is our other public clouds. Bucket three is your ad hoc and maybe third-party data coming from APIs, flat files, spreadsheets, etc. And finally, the last bucket is data sources residing on your on-premise databases if you have that. And so once you have the data that you want to ingest, we make it really easy to ingest, especially your Google Ads data sources such as Google Analytics, your Google Marketing Platform, into our petabyte scale data warehouse called BigQuery. We also have 140 plus SaaS connectors available through our partners, so you can ingest data from sources like Salesforce just with the click of a button. And we also make it easy to ingest data from other cloud providers as well. And yeah, there's just multiple ways to ingest third-party data into Google Cloud Platform so that you can really see the full picture. So once you've ingested all of the data from multiple systems, platforms, databases into BigQuery, we then can provide differentiated integration and data processing products to transform and wrangle the consolidated marketing data. From there, you can leverage this marketing data in BigQuery, and you can pick a Google Cloud machine learning product that suits your needs based off of the skill level that your organization has about machine learning. So one example of this is if you mostly have SQL talent on your team and you want to develop audience segments with machine learning, you can start with BigQuery ML, which is a service that lets you create, evaluate, and predict using machine learning models just using the SQL language. So this is really awesome for prototyping models and getting like a quick turnaround in terms of figuring that out and utilizing your existing SQL talent. And our differentiated data platform is backed by other horizontal services like Cloud IAM to help with authorization, monitoring, and logging so you can monitor your marketing data pipelines and so forth. And then from there, we also provide multiple different ways to act on your data based on your needs. For instance, you can take your differentiated segments back into a channel of your choice, such as Google Analytics or Salesforce. And you can also review and share insights through Looker, which is our enterprise business intelligence platform. Looker is really cool. It has a concept of blocks, so that you can get from data to insight really quickly in a matter of hours. And finally, you can just push all this data back into ads and marketing platforms as well. So that was a big overview of kind of the architecture, the example architecture. Now we're going to break it down into different high priority use cases that your marketing organization might face. So we have grouped the different use cases into three main categories. And in this slide, we're going to define each category. We're going to share some common KPIs or key performance indicators about each of them, and then the challenges that our marketers are trying to solve and how we can overcome them with this example data platform. So the first one is marketing insights. So marketing insights is gathered by bringing together data from different siloed systems, building dashboards to represent them, and using statistical methods to gain comprehensive insight of your marketing activities. Some common marketing KPIs can include calculating your ROI on marketing initiatives, and making sure that that return on investment is something that your organization agrees on. And some common challenges that marketers in this use case are trying to solve may be wanting to enable self-service analytics. And one way that you can achieve this on Google Cloud is by getting a holistic view of marketing performance using Looker Studio or Looker. Another challenge might be wanting to adjust the creative content that you're putting out and analyzing the performance of them. And you can do this through by being able to query and analyze the data based off of your creative content in BigQuery and tailor your advertising efforts based off of the feedback you're getting. Another might be wanting to optimize the spend that you're spending on marketing. And this is where mixed media modeling comes in, where you can analyze to calculate the return on investment on your different marketing channels and optimize your budget in this manner. So that's the first use case. The second one is audience segmentation. Audience segmentation is about leveraging Google Cloud machine learning capabilities in order to build differentiated audiences and activating them in your advertising channels. So, a common marketing KPI within this would be the cost to acquire new customers and how your sales are growing. Some common challenges that marketers are trying to solve today in this segment is one, truly understanding your audience. This can be achieved by using machine learning to identify patterns in your data and learn about the different segments that your audience lives in. Another could be predicting behavior. So once you have your audiences built, you'll be able to predict how these audiences are likely to take action and target them with the relevant ads. And then there's also model lifetime value, where you can model the customer lifetime value to determine which customers are your most valuable based off of their expected spend and their demand forecasts. And the last use case is all about customer experience. This is about providing an enhanced customer experience to your users by understanding their sentiment and then using that sentiment to deliver real time experiences. So, a common KPI regarding this could be brand favorability, maybe a loyalty percentage. And some common challenges are one, trying to even understand what the user sentiment is. There's a lot of information out there in natural language like comments and reviews. So being able to process that and getting a metric on that. And then another challenge could be, how can we deliver a tailored experience to the individual consumer? So tailoring the website or however your customers are interacting with your business so that you can determine the next best action using recommendation systems. So, as Google Cloud, we're aiming to transform and future proof your business. And one small use case based on one data set is not going to be able to do that. And so, to outline your kind of road to transformation, we're starting with a proof of concept. And then from there, we can look into activating more places across the business, enhancing with additional data sets. So, you start, for example, if you have online data, you can also add offline data so you can fill in the blanks where a customer is not identified. And then you can scale beyond marketing and use that data and that analysis to inform other parts of the business. And finally, use the momentum and the success that you see to replicate it with other use cases and other types of analysis. So, this sort of incremental and iterative approach, we believe that this type of approach shows the value early and often. And it's the key towards driving transformation for your company through your customer data. Okay, so now we're diving into the details of what maybe a proof of concept would look like with these use cases. So let's say that your organization is asking yourself, we don't get enough value from our own data, or what products drive high lifetime value? Where do our users fall off in the buying process? When we do use our own data today, I feel like it's often stale and it's not updated enough so that it's ready to activate some business decisions. So this has all to do with channel performance, and this can be achieved with Looker Studio. So Looker Studio, it's an awesome place to create dashboards and visualize your data. And what it can do is it can give your marketing team a one-stop console for all of your marketing performance data, everything from ad impressions to on-site traffic and customer data. And the way that we can achieve this is by bringing in your Google Analytics data and your Google Marketing Platform data into BigQuery first, and also integrate any of your first-party data sets, and then connect Looker Studio to this BigQuery instance to gain insights into your channel performance and also what your users are doing. So this could be one part, one example proof of concept in terms of channel performance. Next is all about audience segmentation. Some questions that a proof of concept like this can answer is, we don't get enough value from our own data, or we spend too much money on third-party data. How about let's focus on our own data? Or the same concept of we use our own data, but it's often stale and it's not ready for activation. Well, this is where something like audience segmentation can help because you can get a really fast view of the types of users you have and use your own data in order to create these segmentations. So the way you can do this is by using machine learning to build different types of audiences, taking into account the various data sources like your CRM, Google Analytics, and on the text side, you can use the k-means clustering model, especially in BigQuery ML, maybe later transporting it to Vertex AI to segment audiences based off of this data. And to see an example architecture of how this would play out, this is what audience segmentation could look like on Google Cloud. So you see in the collection portion, we're getting data from your CRM, we're getting data from Google Analytics, and we're dumping it into BigQuery as well as exporting and backing up some data into cloud storage as well. From there, you can continue with your analysis and use BigQuery ML to create your k-means clustering model. And once it's ready, send it to Vertex AI to serve the predictions. You can also connect those results to Looker and Looker Studio to get a visualization of your audience segmentation, and then funnel those results to your marketing platforms, and also maybe directly to your data scientists, your executives, your business analysts, so that they can look at your audience segments in real time. You can also take the data that you exported to cloud storage and connect that with Analytics 360 or the rest of Google Marketing Platform in order to have a view of this data on all different fronts. That's one example. Another use case is consumer experience. So if you struggle with things like, do our customers view our brand positively or do they view it negatively? Or you're not sure if your new ads are effective or resonating with your audience, or you feel as if your marketing message is unclear, this is where you can start to do some sentiment analysis. So, what sentiment analysis is you understanding how your brand and your marketing messaging is resonating with your customers. And this can be done when you analyze your online comments and engagements. A way that this can be accomplished is using BigQuery to aggregate the comments you see online and using the natural language API in order to process them and get a sentiment metric on them, and then taking the results and visualizing it in Looker Studio or Looker. So here is an example architecture of what that looks like. You can gather your product reviews, video comments, maybe stuff on your social media, and funnel that to your cloud storage bucket. Then put it into BigQuery so that you can use the natural language API to get the sentiment metric and funnel those results back into BigQuery. From there, you can have your connection to Looker and Looker Studio to show these results and visualize it, and then again, funnel that information to your marketing SaaS platforms and any of the users that want to look at this data. Another use case is recommendations. So if you're curious about what products a customer will purchase in the future, or you want to personalize the experience for your customers with recommendations, this is one way to do it. So, yeah, maybe you have some data about their product viewing history, their purchase history via Google Analytics. You can take that data and put it into BigQuery to aggregate it with your CRM, and then use our recommendation AI suite to develop product recommendation model, and then use that model to get a prediction API so that you can do online and batch predictions and incorporate that into your web interface. So here's that example architecture. We're using the data sources that I mentioned, which is your CRM, Google Analytics, your product catalog, taking those events and putting it into BigQuery. From there, using BigQuery to funnel your data into the recommendations model to train that, and then using the recommendations model to get your predictions into the prediction API so that you can use that in order to add recommendations to your website or however your users interact with your business. So those are all the use cases and a little bit of what a POC would look like with us. And if we get this right together, we believe we can achieve a successful pilot in as little as 6 weeks. And we can even leap ahead by identifying the use case and data set today. From here, we'd introduce you to a handful of our implementation partners that can help further refine the scope and help you get started. So how would this all would so how would all of this get started? So what we would do is we would start with a simple but high value use case and expand from there. And this use case should ideally rely on one easily accessible data set that contains identifiable customers. And for most of our customers, that's Google Analytics 360. And that's because Google Analytics exports data once an hour directly into BigQuery. And for the IT folks that are tuning in, this means that there's no traditional ETL to deal with. The data simply arrives in BigQuery, which is awesome and a load off our backs. And if you don't have Google Analytics 360, what is another, data source that would be valuable to you? For some, that might be your CRM, or maybe it's your sales data, or maybe a different analytics tool. This may be a little bit more challenging because it'll take extra effort to import that data, but once we ingest it, it will be instantly usable and you'll be able to utilize the full Google Suite. And we've not mentioned data from other parts of the Google marketing platform, such as display and video 360 or Google Ads. And that's because those systems do produce valuable data, such as the number of users that were served and how often and where. But for the purposes of today's discussion, we want to help you focus the conversation on the data that you do own about your customers rather than what Google observes about the ads that you serve. So that doesn't mean that we can't incorporate advertising data into these use cases later on, but we found that you're likely already have plenty of solutions to analyze your advertising data where you would get the most value is from the other stuff, your sales data, your customer data, your first party data. Okay, so now that was a bit about the use cases. We're going to dive into a live demo of maybe what this experience would look like. It's going to be surrounding Maria. So Maria is a digital marketing manager, and she takes an active role in crafting, launching, and analyzing marketing campaigns. Um, and she wants to use data from the past campaigns to drive her new campaigns, and also overall just wanting to monitor and be aware of how these campaigns are performing, understanding trends, any abrupt variations, and observe if the campaigns are meeting their goals. So we'll be looking at 3 different key areas in this journey. One is making sure that we can pull actionable marketing insights across the campaigns, her web traffic, and maybe her sales data as well. 2 is supporting the marketer by building audiences. We'll do this by looking at propensity to purchase dashboards, customer lifetime value, demand forecasting. And 3 is supporting the delivery of an enhanced customer experience by leveraging sentiment analysis to see what Maria's customers are thinking about her brand. So with that, let me share our Looker Studio environment. So yeah. All right, so this is the overview page of Maria's Looker Studio environment. And Maria's company has recently partnered with Google Cloud to give marketers like herself clear, more actionable ways to interact with this data. And so she starts each day by looking at this overview of the business as a whole. And she's able to quickly glance and see key KPIs such as conversions, cost per conversion, overall performance. And this can help her take immediate action if she glances at this and she sees something trending in the wrong direction or sudden variations. So next, she might dive into campaign performance. Campaign performance will give Maria a deep dive into individual metrics of a campaign. So Maria can easily see, trending metrics such as conversion trends, costs, campaign comparisons, and understand how it compares with the rest of the organization. And then she might really want to look at how the campaigns compare across each other. So we have this compare campaign view where you can see each campaign differently and be able to look at the costs and compare them to each other. And this can really help make sure that she's running the most effective campaigns, maybe evaluate which campaigns she needs to prioritize and which campaigns she can deprioritize. And then she can look at the performance of each of her stores. So then this can really help her understand sales and product availability. And she can even, dig deeper at the product availability in each store. So you can drill down and see something like this by drilling into your dashboards. Then for product performance, Maria can deep dive into her products in order to see the product categories and the stock availability and sales performance based off of different periods of times, different regions, and being able to look at the performance overall. And then she can really see the revenue and know if there are certain lines that they can help drive additional sales or certain lines that they can push more since they're doing awesome. So now that Maria feels like she has a good grasp on her in-store performance and her products as a whole, she wants to maybe look at the web traffic that's on her website. And so you can see some common KPIs like, unique page views, time on page. But you can also see, how and when customers are buying. So you can break down purchases by what devices they're using, what browsers, and also where the traffic comes from. Now for predictions, Maria's developing her audience strategy, and so she wants to look at propensity to purchase. And here you can see, when customers are purchasing, which cohorts are most likely to purchase and what category they're most likely to purchase. So kind of seeing, being able to see what the purchases will look like in the coming times. Then she can also predict the lifetime value of her customers. So she can see the different users and also predict kind of what the value they're bringing to them. And she can see which customers have the most highest value and the lowest value and kind of cater her advertising towards that. Then she can do demand forecasting to, project demand and making sure that she understands, which categories that her operations team is going to have to focus on to make sure there's enough supply, and just make sure that her organization is prepared. And then lastly, with sentiment analysis, this is where you can take things like reviews, comments on YouTube or social media, and see how customers are feeling, maybe even make a word cloud, look at product ratings and making sure that you understand how customers feel about your brand and what their overall sentiment is. So that was a quick demo about Maria and what she's going through. And as we've seen today, Maria can get insights across the business as her organization has taken key steps to democratize access to data and make it easier to get insights on what the business is doing. And with these steps taken, Maria has analyzed campaign performances, and she's ready to build audiences for new campaigns and offer the best experience possible for her customers. And with that, that is the presentation. I do see we have one question. So Data Studio 500 plus data sets, where can I find the list? It should be on our Google Cloud website. So maybe I can find the link and follow up. But one awesome thing is especially with BigQuery. BigQuery has a bunch of public data sets. You can find this when you are trying to load data in. There will be one option to go through the public data sets. So you can also leverage that in order to have the public data sets go into BigQuery and then have Looker Studio, Data Studio sit on top of that and analyze those data sets. Got it. So, for the demo that I showed with the review data, that data is just example data for the purposes of the demo, but where you could get this from is maybe like if you have reviews on your products or if you have comments on YouTube videos that you are posting, or maybe like comments on social media, gathering all of those together and then processing them through the natural language API. You can gather a lot of like sentiment analysis. Are people feeling good or bad about, or frustrated, or are they really excited about your product, and kind of take data in that way. Another question is, with these complexities of all channels integration, how do we address data collection slash protection in case of early adopters? Hmm. Trying to understand what the question's asking. Data collection slash protection in case of early adopters. Um, I think you're asking about how we can make sure that the data is protected and making sure that the data is not abused. I can talk a bit about security then. If this doesn't answer the question, feel free to post a follow-up. Um, but in terms of security, so with Google Cloud, all data at rest is encrypted. And this is by default, so you don't have to push a button or do anything in order to encrypt this data. Um, Another thing is with the data in BigQuery, you can do column grained access, so only certain people can see certain columns, or you can scan it with something called Cloud DLP in order to find maybe some sensitive data, like maybe if there is like health data, you want to redact it, you can have DLP scan through all the data in BigQuery and redact anything that looks like medical data. So you can configure things like that to make sure that your data is safe and you have the security measures taking place. Are there additional public data sets besides those you mentioned that we can use? So for the public data sets, you'll see all of them in BigQuery. And another place that you can see them is if you go to Cloud Marketplace, maybe use filter by the free offerings. There should be data sets under Marketplace as well. They might be the same as what is available in BigQuery, but there's just two different ways that you can look at it. Is there a tutorial to set up the environment in the Maria use case? I don't believe there's a specific tutorial for this demo, but there are tutorials out there. If you look in Cloud Skills Boost, there will be some tutorials for how to set up an example BigQuery sort of or like Looker integration. So I would look in Cloud Skills Boost. What's awesome about that is that there's courses and there's also little sandbox environments where they'll give you a temporary GCP account and you can follow a tutorial step by step. That's a really awesome way to get your hands dirty and learn a bit more. Can you please tell the recommendation approach algorithm? I think this is regarding the recommendations AI. So we have a suite of recommendation products specifically for retail. So if you want to go to the recommendations AI page in Google Cloud, these will have models that can help that you can like fine tune for your needs, but this will make sure that you can have recommendations without having to start from scratch in terms of creating the recommendation engine. Other options are if you're in BigQuery, you can use SQL to create different models there as well to kind of prototype and look at models just by using SQL. So that's another option there. And then also we have some Gen AI models. We have an embeddings API that can also help with recommendations as well as the Vertex matching engine. So those are all good places to start in terms of recommendations, but I would first start with the recommendations AI suite. What are the key steps and considerations for effectively building and implementing a data strategy on Google Cloud to enable data-driven decision making and unlock valuable insights? So I'd say the key steps would be the three that I mentioned. So the first step is to collect your data first. You might have it in a bunch of different places, but collecting it in one place really helps in terms of analyzing things and making sure that you are finding insights across different areas. Second would be transforming it and analyzing it. You can do this in BigQuery just to make sure you can like query the data. For example, if you quickly want to see what are the top 10 products that are selling with the highest profit, that's something that you can query quickly. And then third is being able to activate it across, maybe people who don't know SQL or for a dashboard for easy viewing like I showed today. So kind of following those three key steps. Yeah, so for security features of Google Cloud for health data, so I can talk a bit more about Cloud DLP. This is one way if you have sensitive data that you can de-identify it. So for example, if you have a bunch of data in BigQuery and you want to redact, let's say, people's names and you want to anonymize the data, you can run Cloud uh, Data Loss Prevention is the full name, Cloud DLP, and it'll scan the data in BigQuery. It'll automatically detect which of the data are names, and it'll do the transformation that you request. So if you want all the names to turn into asterisks, you can have it do that. If you want it to turn into numbers, you can have it do that. But there's a bunch of entities that Cloud DLP is good for. And so you can look through that, and there's medical related ones as well. Can we expose Looker Dashboard as a web page without embedding in an actual website? I'm actually not sure about this question, but I know that you can use Looker for external use cases so that the dashboards are available for people outside your company. I'm not sure about the different methods outside of embedding in an actual website. Um, But I do know that it is possible to share with people externally so that you can use dashboards for your customers. So I would recommend reaching out to your uh, your account executive if you have one, or reaching back out to startup school, and we can get you connected with a customer engineer to talk more about that on the Looker side. Okay, let's see. Are there any other questions? Okay, I think that's all the questions we had so far. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope this was valuable and we learned a bit about how we can use BigQuery, Looker, Vertex, a bunch of different APIs in order to make sense of our marketing data and have it funnel some really awesome and powerful business decisions. So thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I hope this helped. I'll see you next time.